The oppressive rule. The galaxy had lived under the shadow of the alien empire for centuries. From the farthest reaches of space to the deepest corners of the star systems, their rule was absolute. There was no place that hadn't felt their presence, no world untouched by their might. The Empire's fleet of warships, massive and terrifying, patrolled the stars, ensuring that no rebellion could rise against them. Species from across the galaxy had learned to live in fear. Those who resisted were swiftly crushed, their home planets turned to ash as an example to others. This empire was ruthless and cold. Their leaders were ancient beings, beings whose powers seemed to stretch across the galaxy like a dark cloud. They had no compassion, no mercy. To them, the galaxy was nothing more than a tool to be used, and the beings that inhabited it were merely pawns in their grand game. Entire civilizations had fallen under their rule, their cultures erased in a single decisive strike. The Empire cared little for the lives they destroyed. To them, it was all part of maintaining control. For hundreds of years, humans had remained quiet in the shadows of this vast empire. Earth, isolated from the galactic conflicts, was a peaceful world, a small blue planet that had not yet reached the stars. But humanity had always been curious, always looking to explore. They watched the empire's reign with growing concern, but they did nothing. They were too small, too weak to stand up against such a force. The alien empire had wiped out civilizations far more advanced than humanity, and there was no reason to believe that Earth would be any different. But as time went on, whispers began to spread across the galaxy. Some beings believed the empire was invincible, that their rule would last forever. Others, however, began to doubt. They saw signs that the empire's power was weakening. It was subtle at first, small shifts in the way the empire operated, tiny cracks in their iron grip, and those cracks would not go unnoticed. On Earth, however, life continued as it always had. Humans lived their lives, unaware of the deepening struggles that were unfolding in the stars. They built their cities, made discoveries, and looked up at the night sky, wondering what lay beyond. They were unaware that they were about to play a role in something much bigger than they could ever imagine. The galaxy had lived in fear for too long. The Empire's terror had silenced the voices of countless races, but something was about to change. In the vastness of space, far from Earth, a signal was being sent out. It was faint at first, a quiet pulse lost in the noise of the universe, but it was there. A message of hope from a source unknown, and one that would reach humanity before anyone could understand what it meant. No one could predict that this small, seemingly insignificant signal would be the first spark of something far greater. A rebellion was brewing in the far corners of the galaxy, and humanity was about to be drawn into it. For the first time in centuries, the Empire's grip on the galaxy would be challenged, and it would be humanity that would lead the charge. But the message was not without its dangers. As it made its way through space, it was intercepted by the Empire's forces. The alien empire, always quick to respond to any threat, began investigating the source of the signal. To them, it was a mystery they had to solve. Whoever had sent it could not be allowed to disrupt their perfect reign, and they would stop at nothing to find the origin of the signal and crush anyone who dared oppose them. Little did they know, the signal was not just a warning. It was a call to arms, and the people of Earth would answer it. As the message made its way to Earth, it would find its way into the hands of a select few. A group of brilliant minds, leaders, and scientists would begin to decode the signal, searching for answers. What did it mean? Who had sent it? And most importantly, why had it been sent to them? They would soon learn that the galaxy's oppressive rule was not as secure as the Empire had believed. The message was not just a plea for help. It was a sign of something much larger, a sign that the Empire's time was coming to an end, and the humans of Earth would play a crucial role in what was to come. But that was still far in the future. For now, the Empire's rule seemed unshakable. The galaxy was still under their control, and fear was still their most powerful weapon. Yet, in the silence of space, something was stirring. The Empire had not seen it yet, but change was coming. And soon, the galaxy would learn that even the most powerful empires could be brought to their knees. Humanity was about to make its mark on the galaxy, and nothing could stop them from fighting back. The first glimpse of resistance. The galaxy was still under the iron fist of the alien empire. Their warships sailed through space like relentless predators, ensuring that no one could rise up against them. Fear was their most powerful weapon, and they wielded it without hesitation. However, as their empire stretched across the stars, they failed to notice the subtle stirrings of something new, a quiet resistance that was growing in the shadows. On Earth, humanity's best minds were focused on the mysterious signal. It had been received through one of the most advanced satellites, a system that had been scanning deep space for decades. The signal had been faint at first, almost imperceptible, but as they decoded it, the message became clearer. The signal was coming from a distant galaxy, a place so far away that no human ship had ever ventured there. The coordinates led to a system that was known to be under the control of the alien empire. At first, no one knew what the signal meant. It wasn't just a message. It contained data, encrypted patterns, and codes. There were whispers among the scientists that this could be a cry for help. But who would need help so far from Earth? And why send a signal to a planet that had no experience in intergalactic warfare? The signal's origin remained a mystery, but its presence was undeniable. It was as if someone, or something, was reaching out, signaling the beginning of a change in the galaxy. The top leaders of Earth's space agencies gathered, their faces filled with uncertainty and curiosity. How could humanity, a species that had never fought in a galactic war, even begin to understand what this meant? It wasn't long before Earth's brightest minds discovered something troubling. The alien empire had detected the signal too. Their advanced technology allowed them to track transmissions across vast distances. The Empire's warships moved toward the source, and soon the message was intercepted. The Empire's forces began investigating, tracing the signal back to Earth. What started as a simple question, what was the signal, soon turned into a race against time. On Earth, the government's response was swift. The scientists were put under strict orders not to speak to the public about the signal, but the word spread. Whispers of a mysterious message from the stars began to circulate. People grew uneasy. The alien empire had already wiped out entire civilizations, and now they knew someone had found a way to communicate with Earth. What did it mean for humanity? Was it a trap? Was it a test? As fear began to spread across Earth, there was an unexpected reaction. A small group of people, mostly from Earth's military and intelligence agencies, began to secretly discuss a different possibility. What if this signal wasn't just a message for help? What if it was an invitation to join the rebellion that was quietly growing against the Empire? No one had any solid proof, but a few brave individuals started to act. They quietly reached out to each other, sharing information, forming secret alliances. Slowly, an underground movement began to take shape. The idea of resistance, once a far-off fantasy, now felt like a real possibility. The truth was that the Empire had been too focused on their overwhelming power to notice the subtle cracks in their empire. The resistance had already begun, but it wasn't just a group of rebels rising up. It was a call to arms, a rallying cry that was sent across the galaxy, a cry for the oppressed to stand together. Humans, once a species of quiet observation, were now preparing for something they had never dreamed of, a war with the most powerful empire in the galaxy. The realization began to spread. The signal was not just a plea for help. It was a challenge to the Empire's rule, and an opportunity for those who were brave enough to take it. The government's leaders, now fully aware of the Empire's interest in the signal, were divided. Some wanted to keep humanity's existence hidden, afraid that making the move would invite the wrath of the Empire. Others, however, saw the signal for what it truly was, a chance to fight back. And for the first time in centuries, the leaders of Earth began to consider the unimaginable, to stand against the alien empire and defend their world. The Empire, meanwhile, grew increasingly suspicious. They sent their best agents to Earth, hoping to uncover the source of the signal. Little did they know, the humans they sought to control were already preparing to make a stand. As the Empire's ships moved closer, the first true glimpses of humanity's potential emerged. The Resistance wasn't just a group of rebels anymore. It was a united force, one that was determined to fight back and show the galaxy that humans were not weak or afraid. They had a power that the Empire hadn't anticipated, the power of hope, of unity, and of resilience. And now, they were ready to take their first steps toward changing the fate of the galaxy forever. Humanity's awakening. As the alien Empire's warships drew closer to Earth, the tension on the planet escalated. Earth's governments had been debating for weeks, torn between caution and action. The truth was clear. Humanity had no choice but to prepare for the worst. The Empire was coming, and they weren't coming with peace in mind. The signal had alerted them to Earth's existence, and the mysterious message could no longer be ignored. The underground resistance, once a small group of rebels, now began to grow. It wasn't just the military or government leaders anymore. Ordinary citizens started to join the cause. Scientists, engineers, and even students began to work together, gathering information, developing plans, and training for a future that once seemed unimaginable. They realized that their strength lay not just in their technology, but in their unity. Among the many who joined the cause was Dr. Alex Carter, a brilliant scientist who had been working on deep space communication systems. He was one of the first to decode the mysterious signal and realized that it wasn't just a call for help. It was a blueprint for something much larger. It contained data about ancient technology, weapons, and strategies that had been used against the Empire long ago by an alliance of species that had long been destroyed. This ancient knowledge could be the key to humanity's survival. Dr. Carter's discovery sent ripples through the growing resistance. The information from the signal revealed that humanity had something the Empire never expected: a hidden advantage. Earth's scientists began to work furiously, constructing the ancient technology described in the signal. It was no longer just a matter of defending their planet. Humanity was going to fight back, armed with knowledge and determination. As the resistance grew, the first military actions were taken. Earth's forces, previously unprepared for intergalactic warfare, began to experiment with the newly discovered technology. The alien Empire's forces had been focused on conquering and controlling, not expecting a small planet like Earth to pose any threat. But humanity was showing that they could fight, and they could fight smart. The first sign of human resistance came when Earth's defense fleet, now equipped with the new technology, launched a surprise strike against a small alien outpost on the outskirts of the solar system. The attack was swift, unexpected, and surprisingly successful. The alien forces, unprepared for such an attack, were caught off guard. They didn't know what to make of it. How could a planet so primitive, so insignificant, strike so effectively? The success of the attack sent shockwaves through the alien Empire. The resistance had struck a blow, however small, and the Empire was now aware that Earth was not as helpless as they had once thought. The leaders of the alien Empire, accustomed to victory without effort, now found themselves facing an enemy they didn't understand. The message was clear: humanity was not going to be intimidated. They had awakened, and they were willing to fight for their survival. But as humanity took its first steps toward resistance, they knew they were still a long way from victory. The Empire's forces were vast, their warships formidable. A single attack, no matter how successful, wasn't enough to shift the balance of power in the galaxy. Humanity needed more than just new technology. They needed to rally allies, to unite other oppressed species, and to build a coalition strong enough to stand against the Empire. And so, humanity began to make contact with the other worlds that had suffered under the Empire's cruel rule. They sent emissaries, messengers who traveled through dangerous space, reaching out to those who still had the will to fight. Some were hesitant, unsure if they could trust the humans, while others saw it as their only hope. Slowly, the galaxy's oppressed began to answer humanity's call, offering their support in the form of weapons, knowledge, and warriors willing to fight alongside the humans. As the days passed, the resistance began to solidify into something more than just a ragtag group of fighters. It was becoming an organized, determined force. The resistance had learned that the Empire's greatest weakness wasn't their strength, but their arrogance. The alien Empire had believed their dominance would last forever, that they were untouchable. They had underestimated the power of hope, the strength of unity, and the fire that burned in humanity's heart. The message had been sent, and humanity had answered it. They had awakened from their long slumber, and they were no longer a passive species, watching from the sidelines. They were now a force to be reckoned with, ready to fight for their freedom, and the freedom of all those who had suffered under the Empire's rule. But the battle was just beginning. The Empire had noticed humanity's rise, and they would not let it go unchallenged. The first strike had been successful, but many more would come, and the cost of victory would be high. Humanity had taken its first step toward greatness, but the true test of their resolve was yet to come. The galaxy was about to witness the power of the human spirit, and humanity was ready to show that even the most oppressive empires could be brought down by the courage of those who dared to fight. The first battle, the first true clash between humanity and the alien empire, took place in the cold expanse of space, just outside Earth's orbit. It was a battle that no one could have predicted, and for many, it felt like the final desperate attempt to show the galaxy that humanity was not a species to be ignored. Earth's forces, now bolstered with new technology and the support of their growing alliance, were ready. But they knew that taking on the Empire was no small feat. The alien Empire had arrived, led by one of their most powerful warships, a colossal dreadnought that could wipe entire planets from existence with a single strike. It was a symbol of the Empire's might, and its presence in Earth's solar system was a direct threat. The fleet of alien ships was massive, and their firepower seemed endless. They had never seen Earth as anything more than a distant, insignificant world. But now, as their ships appeared in the night sky, humanity would show them just how wrong they were. The battle began with a single volley of fire from the alien ships, a powerful barrage that seemed to shake the very foundations of Earth. The humans had no choice but to retaliate, launching their own missiles and energy blasts. The war had officially begun. At first, it seemed like the humans were outmatched. The alien warships, with their advanced weapons and shields, cut through Earth's forces with ease. But humanity's fleet had something the aliens did not expect: innovation. The Resistance had studied the Empire's technology closely and found its weaknesses. They knew that the Empire's warships relied heavily on a centralized power core that could be destabilized with a well-placed strike. In the heat of battle, a small fleet of human ships, including Earth's flagship Rising Star, broke through the alien lines and launched a precise attack on the flagship of the alien fleet. Using the ancient technology they had discovered, they were able to bypass the alien ship's defenses and target the core. The strike was a success. The alien flagship, struck with devastating force, was crippled, its engines destroyed. The alien fleet was thrown into disarray. For the first time, the alien empire saw that their dominance was being challenged. The humans, though vastly outnumbered, had struck a decisive blow. The tide of the battle had begun to shift. However, the alien empire was not one to back down easily. They quickly regrouped and launched a counterattack, sending waves of smaller ships to overwhelm the human fleet. The battle raged on, each side throwing everything they had at each other. The skies above Earth became a chaotic battlefield of flashing lights, explosions, and energy blasts. In the midst of the battle, Captain Elena Rodriguez of Earth's Rising Star made a critical decision. She realized that to win, they would need to focus on the bigger picture, not just fighting the aliens ship by ship, but striking directly at their command structure. The humans had learned that the alien empire was led by a small group of high-ranking commanders who controlled the entire fleet. If they could take them out, they could destabilize the entire empire's military might. Rodriguez ordered a daring assault on the alien command ship, located at the heart of the enemy fleet. It was a risky move, but one that could turn the tide of the war. With her best pilots and warriors at her side, she led a strike against the command ship, fighting through waves of alien defenses. The mission was a long shot, but the humans had no other option. They had to strike at the heart of the empire if they wanted to survive. As the Rising Star and its team of warriors pushed toward the enemy flagship, they encountered fierce resistance. The alien forces were relentless, throwing everything they had at the human fleet. But humanity's determination was stronger than ever. They had no choice but to fight, and they fought with everything they had. In a dramatic showdown, Captain Rodriguez and her team breached the command ship's defenses, fighting their way through alien corridors, battling elite soldiers. They finally reached the command center, where they found the alien generals, cold, calculating leaders who had ruled the galaxy for centuries. The ensuing battle was fierce. Captain Rodriguez, leading her team with unmatched courage, fought to take control of the alien command ship, and in a final, desperate push, she and her crew succeeded. The alien generals were taken down, and the command ship was crippled. The leadership of the alien empire had been destroyed in a single daring mission. As the command ship fell into chaos, the remaining alien fleet began to retreat. The Empire's once unshakable grip on the galaxy was beginning to falter. The humans had done the impossible. They had not only survived the first battle, but had struck a decisive blow that would echo throughout the galaxy. The battle wasn't over, not by a long shot. The alien empire was vast, and this was only the beginning of the war. But for the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw a glimmer of hope. The humans had fought back, and they had proven that they were more than just an insignificant species. They were a force to be reckoned with. As the dust settled and Earth's battered forces regrouped, a sense of pride and hope filled the hearts of the resistance. Humanity had taken its first steps toward victory, but they knew the road ahead would be long and filled with dangers. They had only just begun to fight, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Unexpected alliances. The aftermath of the first battle was both a victory and a warning. Humanity had proven it could stand up to the alien empire, but the cost was high. Many ships had been destroyed, and countless lives had been lost. Yet despite the damage, the humans were emboldened. The empire had suffered a blow, but they were far from defeated. It was only a matter of time before they regrouped and launched another assault. Earth's leaders knew they couldn't win this war alone. The alien empire was too powerful, their fleet too vast. If they were going to stand a chance, they would need allies, species that had also suffered under the empire's oppressive rule. But reaching out for help was a risky move. The galaxy was vast, and the alien empire had eyes everywhere. Would the oppressed races be willing to trust humanity? Could they form an alliance strong enough to defeat the empire? As the resistance worked to rebuild and prepare for the next phase of the war, an unexpected development occurred. A message, encrypted and secret, reached Earth from an unknown source. It was from a faction within the alien empire, one that had grown disillusioned with the empire's rule and sought to break away. This faction, led by a high-ranking officer named Corin, had secretly opposed the empire for years. They had grown tired of the empire's cruelty and corruption, and now they were ready to help humanity. At first, humanity's leaders were skeptical. Could they trust these rebels from the empire? Were they truly on their side, or was it just another trap? But the message contained information that was too valuable to ignore. Corin's faction had detailed knowledge of the empire's inner workings, its command structure, and the weaknesses in its defense systems. More importantly, Corin offered to supply humanity with ships, weapons, and intelligence to help them fight back. The decision was difficult, but humanity's leaders knew they had no other choice. If they wanted to defeat the empire, They would have to take the risk and trust these new allies. And so, a fragile but powerful alliance was formed. Corran and his followers would help humanity, and in return, humanity would offer the hope of freedom to the oppressed races under the Empire's control. The alliance, though fragile, was soon put to the test. The Empire, realizing that their forces had been weakened and that humanity was not alone in its fight, began to tighten their grip on the galaxy. They sent spies to infiltrate the new alliance, trying to sow distrust and discord. But Corran's faction and humanity were prepared. Together, they established a network of communication and coordination, staying one step ahead of the Empire's surveillance. Corran, though a traitor to his people, was a skilled tactician and leader. Under his guidance, humanity began to learn more about the Empire's weaknesses. The rebels had been studying the Empire's fleet for years, and they knew its strategies, its communication patterns, and its vulnerabilities. Corran's knowledge was invaluable, and as they worked together, the alliance grew stronger. Meanwhile, other species, some once thought to be too weak to resist the Empire, began to join the cause. The Zoreth, a race of insect-like beings whose homeworld had been decimated by the Empire, offered their powerful warships. The Shaurith, a telepathic species, offered their ability to communicate across vast distances, providing a critical advantage in coordinating attacks. Even the Akari, a race of genetically enhanced warriors, pledged their armies to the fight. The galaxy was slowly beginning to shift. What had started as a small group of humans fighting back had grown into a full-scale rebellion. With each new ally, the alliance became stronger, more organized, and more capable of taking on the Empire's vast forces. Together, they were more than just a collection of species. They were a united front, determined to end the Empire's reign of terror. But the Empire was not so easily defeated. As the rebellion gained strength, the Empire's leaders grew more desperate. They ordered their spies to infiltrate the alliance, to create chaos and mistrust. They began to wage a psychological war, spreading rumors, creating divisions, and trying to turn the different species against each other. For a time, it seemed like the rebellion might crumble under the weight of these attacks. Trust began to fray as suspicions grew. The alliance's leaders, both human and alien, found themselves struggling to maintain order. Would the alliance hold, or would the Empire's deceit tear them apart? The key to the alliance's survival lay in Corran's leadership. He knew that the only way to defeat the Empire was through unity. He called for a summit of all the leaders of the allied species, demanding that they set aside their differences and work together. His impassioned speech rallied the forces, reminding them of the real enemy, the alien empire that had destroyed their worlds and enslaved their people. They had fought too hard, lost too much, to let the Empire win now. With Corran's leadership, the alliance was able to rebuild its unity. They set aside their differences, realizing that their shared goal, freedom, was greater than any individual struggle. The rebellion was not just about defeating the Empire. It was about creating a future where all species, no matter their origin or background, could live in peace. The new alliance had been tested, but it had emerged stronger than ever. The Empire, now faced with an organized and united rebellion, began to realize that its time was running out. The stakes were higher than ever, and the galaxy's fate hung in the balance. With their new allies by their side, humanity was no longer a small, isolated species. They were part of something much bigger, something that could challenge the Empire's power and bring about a new era for the galaxy. But the war was far from over. The Empire was still a formidable force, and humanity and its allies would have to fight harder than ever to secure their freedom. The final assault. The galaxy had witnessed an unprecedented rise of resistance, and humanity had become its heart and soul. United with their allies, they had gathered strength, knowledge, and resources, preparing for the ultimate showdown with the alien empire. The final battle would decide not just the fate of Earth, but the entire galaxy. The time had come to launch a full-scale assault on the Empire's most formidable stronghold, their homeworld. It was a place shrouded in mystery and terror, a planet where the Empire's leaders lived, where their power emanated, and where their might had reigned unchecked for centuries. The Alliance knew that the cost of victory would be enormous. The Empire's defenses were formidable, their warships vast and powerful, and their military strategy unmatched. But the resistance was determined, and they had a secret weapon. The ancient technology that had been discovered through the mysterious signal. Humanity and their allies had studied the weapon for months, and now it was ready. It was a device capable of striking directly at the heart of the Empire, a weapon that could cripple their military infrastructure, blind their communications, and disrupt their entire war machine. But even with this advantage, the final assault would require everything the Alliance had. The fate of the galaxy was at stake, and everyone understood that the upcoming battle would test their limits. In the days leading up to the assault, the Alliance coordinated their strategy in secret. Corran, now fully trusted by humanity and their allies, oversaw the operation. He worked alongside Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Rising Star and General Varric, a Shaurith commander with extraordinary telepathic abilities. Together, they forged a plan to strike swiftly and decisively. They would launch a multi-pronged attack. One fleet would assault the Empire's outer defense rings, while another, smaller, elite force would break through to the heart of the planet itself. As the moment of truth approached, there was no turning back. The Alliance's fleets, hundreds of ships strong, gathered in the vastness of space, ready to take on the might of the Empire. The Alliance's ships were smaller and less numerous, but they were fast, agile, and fueled by a determination to see the Empire's rule end. Their secret weapon, a massive energy pulse generator, would be activated once they reached the heart of the Empire's homeworld. But first, they had to survive the deadly outer defenses. The first wave of the assault began with a barrage of firepower that lit up the sky. The alien Empire's warships, massive and menacing, moved to intercept, but they were met with an unexpected ferocity. The resistance fought with every ounce of their strength, attacking with precise, deadly force. The alien fleet's defenses were formidable, but they were not invincible. The first wave of the attack, though costly, succeeded in breaking through the outer rings, allowing the second, more specialized force to advance deeper into the heart of the Empire's territory. As the battle raged on, Earth's forces, along with their new allies, pushed forward. Captain Rodriguez, leading the charge, was in constant communication with her fleet. She coordinated their movements with precision, using the knowledge gained from Corran and the intelligence gathered by the Alliance. The Rising Star darted between enemy ships, delivering devastating strikes to the alien warships while evading incoming fire. Her crew, battle-hardened after months of war, fought with unparalleled resolve. The elite strike team, led by Rodriguez, had one critical mission: to penetrate the heart of the Empire's defenses and deploy the ancient weapon. As they approached the planet, they were met with a final wave of resistance. The Empire's last line of defense, an enormous, heavily fortified orbital station. It was a do-or-die situation. If they couldn't disable the station, their chances of victory would diminish dramatically. The strike team launched their attack, drawing fire from the station's defenses. It was a high-risk operation, but the only chance they had. The enemy ships, focused on the rest of the Alliance's fleet, failed to notice the strike team's approach until it was too late. With precise tactics and Corran's guidance, they breached the station's defenses, disabling its weapons and allowing the Alliance's full forces to break through. With the station neutralized, the final step was at hand: the deployment of the ancient weapon. Corran, Rodriguez, and their team set the device into place, triggering the activation sequence. The weapon's energy pulse sent shockwaves through the Empire's systems. Communications were disrupted, their fleet became disorganized, and the planet's defensive shields began to falter. The Empire's leadership, once confident in their dominance, could only watch in disbelief as their defenses crumbled. The remaining forces of the Empire, leaderless and in chaos, attempted to regroup, but it was too late. The Alliance, bolstered by the courage and determination of humanity, launched the final strike. As the energy pulse disrupted the Empire's control, humanity's forces began to overwhelm the remaining alien ships, one by one. But the true victory came when the Empire's central command, located deep beneath the surface of their homeworld, fell silent. The leaders of the Empire, their communications shattered, were powerless to respond. The Empire's heart had been struck, and their reign of terror had ended. The galaxy, once enslaved by fear, now found hope. Humanity had risen up, and with the help of their new allies, had delivered a blow that would shake the stars themselves. The war was not yet over, but the alien empire was no longer the unstoppable force it once was. As the Alliance's forces stood victorious, Captain Rodriguez and her crew looked out over the battlefield, knowing that this was only the beginning of a new era. The galaxy was free, and humanity had earned its place among the stars. Victory and a new dawn. The final battle was over. The Empire's homeworld lay in ruins, its once unyielding defenses shattered, and its leadership obliterated. The galaxy was no longer under the shadow of fear. It had been a hard-fought victory, one that cost many lives and required unimaginable sacrifices. But humanity and its allies had done the impossible. They had overthrown the empire that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. As the dust settled and the smoke of battle faded, Earth's leaders stood together, gazing at the aftermath. The planet was still recovering from the invasion, but the war was over. The empire had been defeated, and for the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt a sense of peace, a peace that had been long denied. Captain Elena Rodriguez, standing on the bridge of the rising star, took a deep breath, looking out over the shattered remnants of the alien fleet. The battle had been brutal, but it had also been the turning point. Humanity had faced down the most powerful empire in the galaxy and had emerged victorious. Her heart swelled with pride as she thought of her crew, her comrades, and the millions of others who had fought and died for this moment. They had all believed in something greater than themselves, freedom for the oppressed and an end to the empire's tyranny. The victory, however, came with new challenges. The galaxy was in chaos. The empire's fall had created a power vacuum, and there were many factions that sought to fill the void left by its collapse. The rebel races, the once oppressed species that had fought alongside humanity, now looked to the future. Many of them were eager to forge new alliances and establish new governments, but they also knew that the galaxy would require guidance, something that humanity, with its newfound leadership, could provide. Koran, once a leader of the Empire's rebel faction, now stood alongside Captain Rodriguez, his role in the alliance having earned him the respect of countless species. He had once fought against the Empire he had served, and now he was helping to rebuild the galaxy in the image of freedom and unity. Together, he and Rodriguez helped form a council, a new government built on the principles of equality, cooperation, and shared responsibility. It wasn't easy. There were factions that remained distrustful, species with old wounds and old grudges, but humanity's role was clear. They would be the bridge between the old ways of the galaxy and the new world that was being born. The rebuilding process was slow, and there was much work to be done. The Empire's reign had left scars on many worlds. Planets had been ravaged, civilizations destroyed, and countless lives lost. But there was hope now, where there had been none. Humanity, with its courage and resilience, had shown the galaxy that no power was too great to defeat, no empire too strong to crumble. As the galaxy began to heal, species that had long been oppressed found a new sense of purpose and freedom. For the first time in centuries, the voices of the oppressed were heard, and they would never be silenced again. As the new council met to discuss the future, they decided on a path of peace and cooperation. No longer would they allow fear to rule the galaxy. Instead, they would build a future based on mutual respect, where every species, every world, could thrive. The Council established a new order, one that valued liberty, freedom, and the right of every being to live without fear. Humanity would serve as the guiding force, not through domination, but through unity. In the coming months, Earth's leaders worked tirelessly to establish diplomatic ties with every corner of the galaxy. They offered aid to the worlds that had suffered the most, helping them rebuild their societies. Earth's technology, now more advanced thanks to their victory, was shared freely with those in need. As the years passed, the galaxy transformed. War became a distant memory, and peace slowly but surely began to take root. But even in this new era, there would always be those who sought to disrupt the peace, to return to the old ways of conquest and control. The galaxy would never be free of conflict, but humanity's rise had shown that when faced with overwhelming odds, unity and courage could bring about change. The resistance had not only defeated the Empire, it had shown the galaxy that anything was possible when the oppressed stood together and fought for their freedom. Captain Elena Rodriguez, now regarded as one of the galaxy's greatest leaders, stood on the steps of the new council's headquarters, looking out at the stars. She had seen the worst of what the galaxy had to offer, the destruction, the fear, and the suffering. But she had also seen the best, the compassion, the unity, and the unyielding spirit of those who refused to bow down. As she looked toward the future, she knew that humanity had only just begun its journey. The galaxy was vast, and there was much to explore, much to learn, and much to protect. But for the first time in history, humanity was no longer an isolated, insignificant species. They were now a beacon of hope, a symbol of what could be achieved when the galaxy came together in the fight for freedom. And so, the story of humanity's rise from fear to triumph became a legend that would inspire generations to come, a reminder that no matter how dark the times, there would always be light, and that even the smallest spark could ignite a revolution that would change the galaxy forever. The new dawn had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again.